This video will guide you on the merge and export functionality of the Intelliflo integration. So I have an existing record here, Raymond Blue, sitting in Voyant. I can see it hasn't been integrated, and I also have that same record existing in Intelliflo. So if I want to connect the two, I need to start the journey off by clicking into the client from Voyant, clicking my little plus button on the right, and you'll see an import option. Like if you were importing a new client, it's the same process. Click into I've got quite a few blues here, into my client search, so I'm just going to put in the first name there. And here you'll see you've got a couple of options. You've got an option to merge and you've got an option to overwrite. Only select overwrite if you are 100% sure that the data in IO needs to be overwritten in Voyant. Otherwise, more than likely, you would be choosing the merge option. So the integration is just finding that data in IO. It's recognizing there's some new people. So just follow the little widget through. We don't bring over events. Now the screen looks a bit different to the import option. You see you have this option to connect. What this means is, this is the data sitting in IO. We map across the type of item, so an expense or employment or an unwrapped investment. What the data is telling us here is that there are two possible similar types of expenses or investments, and there will be an option for us to connect or skip those investments once we go through the merge process. So check the data on the left hand side. You don't need to do anything at this stage. By me clicking next, it doesn't actually activate the connection. You now come to your checkpoint. So the data at the top is what's in IO. The data at the bottom is what's in Voyant. It's asking me, do I want to connect any of these items in Voyant with that data from IO? In this particular case, I'm going to skip the expenses because I use goals in Voyant. So I'm going to skip those expenses. Then when I'm coming to my employment, yes, that's the data in IO. I want to connect it to my current Voyant record. So I click into the record. I don't click the little connect button. Again, it recognizes there's an Investic GIA. It looks new. I can't see it relating to any of these values. So I'm going to select new. An unwrapped investment is sitting in IO. You have a similar investment in Voyant. Do we want to connect the two? And at this point, I'm going to say yes, because I know that's his updated value. So I'm going to click yes. Again, it's bringing over the stocks and shares. It's recognizing there is a stocks and shares in Voyant. It's raise stocks and share. So I'm going to bring over that updated value and connect it to my Voyant record. And this is with regards to the pensions now. So this looks like an updated value on raise pensions. So I'm just going to click yes to that. And then we've got some savings account. There's the similar value, so I'm going to connect it to that Barclays savings account. And now you just have a checkpoint. It's recognizing there's some updated valuations to those existing plans in Voyant, so that's why it's showing you that level of detail here. And there's all my skipped expenses. So once I'm happy with that, and that's the new finances added. Once I'm happy with that, I simply click done. And now what I should see is the client is now connected. So when I come to review time and I want to bring over any updated valuations or plans from IO, I now have the option to update here, like we did with a new import. But let's take a different example here, and let's say we've gone to the review meeting and actually there is quite a bit of data that we've completed in that review meeting that we need to get back to IO. So you can see in this plan, I've got a joint current account that was in Voyant. That's not an IO. I've got Ruby's ISA that was missing an IO, and Ray's bond as well. So now when I click the plus button, I can go to export. Now I'm going to point this out, and this is what we are working on. It does default to exporting all the items. What we're working on is that I wanted to export just the items that are not connected. So I'm going to skip my expenses. I want that joint account to come across, the ISA and the bond, and I'm just going to skip the other items in the plan. I don't need those to be updated. Remember, these are Voyant drawdowns accounts, so you would keep that in. In fact, I am just going to include that final salary and the state pensions. Let's just make sure we've got that exported too. If I had updated any previous values that were connected, I would need to select update here. So just be aware of that for now. That is something we're looking at. So once I'm happy with that, if I go next, another little checkpoint on the way out to the export. It's saying it needs to recognize the type of plan in Intelliflo. So I'm just going to select that as a cash account. Go next. And this should be a stocks and shares ISA. Go next. Insurance investment bond is the one to select for bonds. Go next. Final salary scheme. And then state pension, which will go into income. Go next and next again. So it gives me again a little bit of a checklist of the items to be exported. If I wasn't happy at this stage, I can go previous or click cancel and redo the export again. So click done to that. So now what we should see in the Voyant record is all the items should now be connected with our little icon. If I come into Intelliflo, and let me just refresh my screen here. And let me just click onto plans. You can see the bond coming through, the cash account coming through. That was Ray's. Another little item we're working on, as you can see, anything that's exported comes across as unknown provider. We are working on getting that list updated again, so we don't have less cross-checking, but for now you will need to go into the actual item and edit the provider name at this point. So that you can see those have pulled through for Ray. What we should be seeing, let's just go across to a Rose. And let's click onto her plans. Okay, and one thing that, this is why I actually wanted the final salary to be exported. You can see we aren't exporting a deferred final salary scheme in the plan, even though it is showing it's linked to Intelliflo. If I just come back into look at her fact find to see if it may have gone there. If I click into my retirement, go to final salary, click yes, we can see final salaries is another area we are working on in terms of the exporting functionality. Okay, so that's a very high level of a merge and export. I've kept it very simple for this video. Please do feed back to me of things that are not working as expected. It's really important I understand how our advisors and planners are using the integration so that we can continue to enhance it. Thank you very much.